Well, Heritage Day celebrates South Africa's rich, vibrant and diverse cultures. The Arts and Culture Department is hosting a heritage event at the Princess Magogo Stadium in KwaMashu, this in KwaZulu-Natal. But the theme for this year is celebrating our cultural diversity in a democratic South Africa. eNCA reporters Pule, Letshwiti-Jones and Aviwe Mtila are tracking the story for us and join me live now to give us an update on how the festivities are going. And Pule, Aviwe, great to have you back, colleagues. Perhaps, Pule, let me bring you in. The theme here, celebrating our diverse cultures in a democratic South Africa, just goes to show the intention with the event to preserve our heritage from every corner of the country. All right, seems like Pule, of course, can't hear me at this stage. Pule, Letshwiti-Jones, I'm going to try and head over to Aviwe Mtila while we try and establish our connection with you, colleague. But Aviwe, I'll just repeat the same question to you if you can hear me. I mean, the theme here, quite important to also highlight and amplify for today's program, celebrating diverse cultures to, of course, see through with this in a democratic South Africa. I suppose, what's the importance, do you think, of this theme in making sure that we continue to preserve our heritage in every corner of the country?
Definitely an important theme, Tumelo, the Rainbow Nation, as we became to be known in democratic South Africa, showing the diverse cultures, the beauty of the colors. We see it in Heritage Day, of course, formerly known as Shaka Day, 24th of September, the day that it's believed that the Zulu monarch, Shaka Zulu, passed away in 1828. So it's something that's been traditionally celebrated in KwaZulu-Natal up until it was formalized in 1996 in Parliament, adopted as one of the public holidays. Now that is known as Heritage Day. But just to get more insight on all of what's going to be happening today, I am joined by the DDG of Recreation, Development and Sports Promotion. Thank you, Ms. Khan, for joining us at eNCA. But maybe run us through in terms of what to expect here today.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having us on this program. It's Heritage Day, and I think importantly, it's a celebration of our cultural diversity. You know, and from the sporting sector, the National Indigenous Games are part of the Heritage Day celebrations, and we are so delighted that the Indigenous Games Festival can be incorporated and taking place in the same place where the National Heritage Day celebrations are taking place.
That's something that I'm looking forward to, seeing some of those Indigenous games. Growing up myself in the township, getting to play some of those games. But I've always wondered how it's not formalized into, you know, the normal sporting programs. Would it be something in the pipeline maybe?
No, definitely. I think we've worked very hard. We started the Indigenous Games program in 2001, and you'd see it started with 6 Indigenous codes of sport. It's now grown to 9, and there are many, many more, and many communities who want to be part of this mainstream of the Indigenous Games. I think importantly, we are trying to structure them, formalize the structures, having an Indigenous Games Council, and then having all the different codes, of Indigenous Games like Khati, Marabaraba, Intuva, Intonga, all of that having their own almost federations, like you have the mainstream footballs and netballs, etc. So that is in the pipeline. They've come a long way, and we're hoping that very soon we will have the formal recognized Indigenous Games, National Indigenous Games Council with all of their members.
And maybe the importance of having this event and also incorporating that element of Indigenous Games in KwaZulu-Natal. Take us through the importance of it all.
Okay, we have sport and we have recreation. And recreation lends itself to mass participation. And we realize that we don't have access to all the formalized structures, infrastructure. But there is an opportunity to get people to play, together in masses, get to large numbers of people, but reviving the traditional games that people historically played. Because there's a rich culture of traditional games all over, not only KwaZulu-Natal, but throughout the country. But I think historically for us coming to KwaZulu-Natal, It is, we are so delighted to be part of the National Heritage Day celebration, where our opening ceremony is part of the formal program. And then also, KwaZulu-Natal has historically over the years performed very well at the National Indigenous Games Festival. So I think for them it's doubly exciting that being, recipients or being champions for so many years, the Heritage Day celebration is in KwaZulu-Natal and the Indigenous Games is here at the same time.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Khan there, telling us, of course, about the exciting developments around the Indigenous Games that will be opening the official program that's set to be underway from 11 o'clock.
Quite exciting indeed, and as far as activities are concerned, Aviwe, Mtila, from where you stand. But Pule, Letshwiti-Jones, let me come to you now, colleague, and talk about from where you stand. How are the festivities also looking ahead of Heritage Day celebrations today?
Yeah, definitely. Right now, I'm joined by Zanile Nyen, who is the eThekwini Deputy Mayor, who's speaking to me this morning. Mr. Myen, thank you very much for chatting to us. Firstly, I must say you're looking quite beautiful and colorful as well in your traditional attire. But we also see that the weather isn't on our side today. Are there preparations in place to ensure that the weather does not disrupt the event?
Yes, there are many preparations. One thing that we must say is that in our African culture, we are here in the Zululand. We always acknowledge the fact that when it is raining, it is a symbol of something. And we are here to say to the people of eThekwini, they need to come and celebrate with us, because we are one of the diverse cities in our country, and they must come here so that they will also listen to the main address, which will be done by our Deputy President of the country, Honorable Paul Mashatile.
Apart from just the address, as the municipality, what are some of the programs have you been putting in place to ensure that you preserve the cultural, beliefs and, of course, customs and transitional, customs to the younger generations that's coming up? What are you doing to preserve culture?
We are having the office in our office, which is dealing with the youth development. One of the programs that they are having is that they go out, they educate young people also to understand the diversity that we have in our culture, and also in different music genre. We are saying that we are investing more into music, because when you are talking to young people, you need to speak their language, and their most listenable language is music.
And is it enough? Are you seeing results with this program?
Yes, we are seeing results with this program, because even if when you see our council, in our council we have a lot of councillors which are young people, and in our different ways they are also advocating this issue of saying that even though we are in the 21st century, but we need to also to embrace our ethnic group, and also to make it a point that we celebrate each other.
Would you say, it's imperative that government must support several, lexicography units at institutions of higher learning, which would speak to preserving a language, such as defending our indigenous languages, such as the Khoisan languages as well?
Yes, this is very important, because when you look at our history, we are now saying that all the languages are important, as it is also entrusted in our constitution. And when we're talking about young people in tertiary institution, we are saying that is where we need to invest more, because that is where you are looking at young people which are structurally, and also not only on the youth which is in school and even outside. That's why as a municipality we are having complex programs that is looking at young people also in school and outside of school.
And of course, just lastly before I let you go, Mayor, there's also an issue around, while we embrace and celebrate South Africanness, there's an element of a tribalism as well, which is spilling over to the political space as well. Is there something that you're doing to address some of these challenges which create, a factional tribalistic politics within the space?
It is very important when you look at this issue to say that it is an issue that does not only have to be done by politicians, in also all aspects. Here at our municipality, we are having different people from different ethnic groups, and we are saying, because we are dealing with politicians, that as they are coming from different political parties, they need to advocate this, that we cannot always look at the issue of tribalism in this day and age. We need to look at the issue of capacity. And we are also saying that the youth formation also, they must be at the center of changing the status quo, because if we don't address this issue in that aspect, we'll have a problem. So that's why we are saying that this is a joint work that we need to do in all spheres of life.
Thank you very much for joining us. That's the Deputy eThekwini Mayor speaking to us this morning. But of course, in preparation of the event, we continue to see some of the cultural, activities that are taking place here at this particular venue as well. We're expecting a hive of activities, and of course, under indigenous games that will be taking place at Tumelo. Now, you will know, of course, that no matter our race, ethnicity, language, or religion, there is no right or wrong way to observe Heritage Day. And honestly, what matters most is that we are taking the time to celebrate our South Africanness.
Absolutely, and you can see there the singing with so much emotion. Pule Letshwiti-Jones just goes to show, of course, how important this day is, but also how much it brings out the best in all South Africans. And I can definitely hear from the Deputy Mayor that no weather formed against this event will prosper because they're quite, intentional in going through with the weather, with the event. But before I both let you go, Aviwe, let me come to you once again, colleague, and just ask when we can expect the event to officially take place.
At 11 o'clock is when the official program will be underway, with the Master of Ceremonies being the Sports, Arts and Culture Minister, Zizi Kodwa. But before that, we do have the cultural activities that are said to take place any time from now. We're expecting them to take place from 8 o'clock up until 11 o'clock. But of course, those important indigenous games that are to be officially started today after that official program, both by Deputy President Paul Mashatile as well as the Zulu King Misuzulu KwaZulu-Natal, officially starting them off is when we expect that to happen, just a bit later on around noon at Tumelo.
All right, well, thank you so much, colleagues. We'll be sure to come back to you and catch up with you around how the program is looking and the festivities out in KwaZulu-Natal. eNCA reporters Pule Letshwiti-Jones and Aviwe Mtila. Colleagues, I'll come back to you with any other developments on this event.